Hi everyone, in this video I want to show you how to make this sprint effect. So here you can see there's a ghost trail effect and some ribbons, and also you can see some speed lines on the screen and also some Niagara speed lines near the character. So the effect looks like this, and you can control the color and the length of the trail, etc., and how long they are on the world. So this is the effect we are going to be creating today. I also made some bonus effects for my Patreon. So here is the first one. This is a flash like sprint effect. So here you can see some lightnings and some trails on the player. And you can also easily change the color of the lightning and change the size, etc. So this is the first Patreon bonus file. And this is the second bonus file. So here you can see a flame like effect. So there's a dark smoke coming out of the player and some speed lines. And here if I press F5, you can see that there isn't much overdraw on the smoke particle because I am using a masked particle for it. So this is what the effect looks like. So this is a third effect. So it kind of looks like a energy effect like this. So this is the fourth and final effect. So it is like a flame effect. So here you can see there's a ghost character following the player and it is kind of disintegrating like that. So this is the fourth and final effect. And if you want to download the entire project files, you can support me on my Patreon. And for $5, you can download this and also download all the project files from my past 7 years on my channel. So for $5, you can download all of them. The links will be in the description below. And if you are already my patron, thank you very much for supporting me and this channel. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. So first we can make the Niagara system. For that, right click, then click on Niagara system. Then we can create an empty one. Then click create. Then we can call this ns print. Then open it up. And here first we need to have the trails. So for that we need to create ribbons. So for that, go to render. Then click on this plus icon. Then click ribbon renderer. Now go to emitter state and click on self. And here just select infinite and then loop duration of 1. And then we need to spawn this according to the velocity of our player. So for that we can do spawn per unit. So click this and type in per unit. So this module will spawn particle according to the speed of the player. And here you have this spawn probability. You can take this and set this to 1. And with this you can control the number of particles spawned. And you can also kind of control it using spawn spacing. We can go here and set the lifetime to random and set this to 0.1 and 0.2. So it will be a really short-lived particle. And here we can also go to color mode and set this to direct set. And we can give a bright pink color like this. So this lifetime also control the length of the ribbon. And here we can go to ribbon width mode and click direct set and set this to 2 for now. Now if I bring the particle in and if I just do this, you can see that it's spawning some particles, but here you can also see the sprite render. So to remove that, we can go here and untick this. And now if I move this, you can only see the pink ribbon. If I move the particle, now we need to spawn this according to the skeletal mesh. So in order to do that, we can go to particle spawn and click add and type in skeletal mesh location. And here we can type in symbol and we can select the twin symbol skeletal mesh. Now if I bring it into the world and move it, you can see that it is spawning from different locations. And if I go here and set this spawn spacing to like 5 or something like that, then you can see more ribbons are spawning like that when I move it. So now I will rename this to bright, then duplicate this, and this can be the mid one. And for this, we can give a darker color like this. And for the spawn per unit, we can set this to like 12. And we can duplicate this again. And here we can set this to 8. And for this color, we can dim it even more like that. And now we can see what it looks like on the player mesh. So now go to the third person folder, then the blueprint folder, then open the character. And here select the character mesh, this one. And now we can bring in our particle and drag and drop that in like this. And now if I press play, if I run, you can see that our particle is spawning like this. But it doesn't really look right, but we will fix this. So the issue is because our player is moving very slowly. To fix that, we can add a really basic sprint system here. So in order to do that, right click, then type in left shift event. So this left shift keyboard event. And here we can just drag in our character movement and type in set max walk speed. And here for sprint, we can set this to 1200. And when we release the left shift button, we can set this back to 500. And now if I just press play, and now if I just press shift, here you can see the effect like this. So we need to fix few things. First, we need to reduce the width. So just set the ribbon width to 1 for all of them. And here for the mid particle system, we can set this to like 0.6 and 0.3. So it will increase the length of this one. So now if I just press play, you can see the effect like this. Don't worry about this right now, we will fix this later, but we will get the basic effect like this. We can also increase the spawn by going here and setting this spawn spacing to like 2. Now if I press play, I can get this effect. And here maybe we can set this to like 0.2 and 0.4. Now we can add some Niagara based speed lines. For that, we can just duplicate this and I will call this speed lines. Then untick the ribbon render and just tick the sprite render. Then we can also delete the skeletal mesh. Then here we can add a location and shape location and set this to sphere and then increase the surface distribution so more and more particles will appear on the surface of the sphere. And then we need to add velocity. So click this and type in add velocity. Then click fix issue. And here for the y, we can type in -1000. So our particles will go behind the player. And now set the lifetime to 0.4 and 7 like this. And 0.7 like this. Then for the sprite size mode, set this to random uniform. And 5 and 10 should be fine for now. Now if I just press play and sprint, you can see the particles spawning like this. And here we go to the shape location and set the hemisphere to 0.5. And now if I just press play, it will look like this. And this is what we want. Now we need to bring it up a bit. So in order to do that, here we can set the sphere radius to 60. And then we can go to initialize particle and click on position offset. Then set this to like 90. Now if I just press play, you can see that it is spawning at the right location. Now we need to reduce the number of particles. So we can go here and go to spawn per unit and set this to like 20. Now if I just press play, you can see that it is spawning like this. Now we need to make it like a line. So in order to do that, we can go to sprite render and we can go to alignment and set this to velocity align. So this will just split the particle in the direction of the motion. And now we can go to particle update and click on size by speed. So scale sprite size by speed. Then set this to like 0.1 and this to like 0.5 and the y value to like 10 and 20. And now if I just press play, you can see the streaks like this. But it is really bright, so we can go back. And we can set this to a really dark color like this. So this is what we want. Now we can duplicate this and set the spawn spacing to, or we can just set the spawn probability of this to like 0.3, so it won't spawn that much. And then we can go here and make this even darker like this. So it will be barely visible. And we can set the sphere radius to like 200. Now if I press play, we will get an effect like this. And this is what we want. And here maybe we can just select this and set this like 0.1, and for the alpha we can set this to like 0.2, so it will be barely visible like this. Now we can add the ghost effect. So for that, go to the third person character and click on mesh, then open it up. Then we can go to the animation, and then here we can type in run and select the run forward. And here, in order to get the ghost effect, there are many ways to do it. One way is just to write this animation into a texture using a plugin. So if we go to plugins and type in animation, or this one, this anim to texture plugin, you can just convert the animation, this run animation, to a texture and use vertex animation to animate the mesh without having to use a skeletal mesh. So you can just use a static mesh and a texture to animate the vertex of the mesh, vertex of the static mesh without using the animation file or using a skeletal mesh. But here, since our effect happens really fast, people won't really notice that much details. So we can just use a simple snapshot system. So in order to do that, we can go here and we can go to the L point here. So when the left feet touch the ground, so when the left feet touches the ground, and here we can go to make static mesh and click this. And now we can go to our folder and we can create a new folder and we can call this mesh. And now we can call this sm underscore left 1 and save it. And now bring it here to halfway point like this. And we can make another static mesh. And we can call this sm left 2. Then we can go here and make another one. Sm right 1. And we can go to halfway point here like that. And now we can make another one. And we can call this sm right 2. So now if I go here, I have this folder and here we can see our measures. So I will bring this one in. And if I open this up, you can see that it has a lot of triangles. But we don't really need this. And here you can also see that it has 2 material slots. We also don't need that. So in order to fix that, we can just bring it to the world. We can bring all of them into the world like this and select this one, and we can go to modeling, and then we can go to mesh, and we can go to simplify, and here we can set the target percentage to like 10 and click accept. So it will reduce the number of vertexes on the mesh. You can also do it again if you want. So it will look like this, but I'm just going to leave it here. And now here we can go to attributes and go to edit material, and here we can just delete this one. We don't really want that. Then click accept. Then it will only have one material slot. Now here we also need to go to miscellaneous and add auto LOD. So click this and go to output mode and click on update existing assets, and then click accept. So it will create all of these things, but we don't really need that. And you can also play around with these settings in order to not get this, because we only need the mesh for this tutorial. And here we can do the same for this one also. I will just do it really fast. So now I have done all of them. So here if I just click this, you can see that it still has two elements. That is because when you create the auto LOD, it kind of adds that. So we can remove this by going to edit materials and just click this and click delete. That's all we need to do. So now we have a mesh. Now we need to create the material for this. So for that, right click, then click material. Then I will call this M underscore ghost. Then open it up. Then we can set the shading model to unlight and the blend mode to translucent. So it will be transparent. Now we can go here and type in Fresnel function, and we can also type in particle color. And here we can multiply the alpha of the particle color with the Fresnel function and click and connect this to the opacity. And we can directly connect this to the MC, or we can multiply this with the Fresnel also. So we will get a more sharper result like this one. So now click apply and click save. Now we can go back to our Sprint Niagara system. So now here we can add our ghost particle. So for that, right click, then click add emitter, then click an empty emitter. Then here we can go to emitter state and click on self. And here we can also press this and type in per unit and set this to 5 or something like that. And here for the lifetime, I will set this to 1 and untick the sprite render. And then we can just create a mesh renderer. And here for the mesh, we can select our first mesh like this. And here we can type in enable material override and click this. So we can add our material to our mesh. So now just select this material and add that like that. And now we can go to initialize particle and we can add a color here like that. Now if I just press play, so now you can see that it is spawning a lot of mesh like this. I think that black color was because our LOD kind of messed up our material indexes. So we just add one more and then add the ghost material here also. Then if I just press play, now we can see our ghost material applied like this. Now here we want to rotate the mesh the direction the player is running. So in order to do that, we can type in initial mesh orientation and set this to system. And now if I just press play, now you can see that it is following the player. Now we can go back, and here now we can disable the per unit and we can add cone instantaneous, this one, and we can go to emitter state and set the loop duration to 0.1, so it will update really fast. So now if I just press play, we get this effect, and this is what we want. Now you can see that it is very jarring because it is just popping up like that. So we can fade this a bit. So in order to do that, we can go back, and here we can go to particle update and type in scale color. Then for the alpha, here we can click this and type in curve, and then select this one. So it will start at 0, then go to 1, then fade out like this. So now if I just press play, it will look like this. And here one more thing we can do is that we can go to the color and we can decrease it like that. Maybe like 5. And now we can go to the material, and here for the power, we can press and hold 1 and click. So we get this constant vector, and here we can set this value to like 6 and click apply. Now if I press play, we get this, and this is what we want. And here we can go to scale color, and we can move it here like this and down like this. Now we can just set the color to white here, and we can go to the scale color, and here we can go to scale color and type in linear color, and here we can type in curve. And now here we can add our color like this. So here you can see that our ghost mesh is always the same pose. So now we need to fix that. For that, we can go back and then select the left 2 and go to mesh render and click add. Then add this one and click again, and then add this one and then click again and add the right 2. So now we need to cycle through them, and we need to spawn the subsequent one every time we spawn a particle. So in order to do that, we can create a scratch pad. So here, press this add icon and type in scratch pad. Now here, type in particle ID. So this is a unique ID the emitter provides for every particle that it spawns. And here, in order to select between these meshes, so here you can see that this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, and this is index 3. So if you select each index, we can cycle through them. So in order to do that, go back to the scratch module, then click here and type in mesh index. So here if I just set this to 1 and click apply, you can see a different mesh. And if it is 2 and click apply, you can see another mesh, and 3, you can see a different mesh. So it has some issues, I will fix that later. So in order to cycle through them, we have this unique ID and this mesh index. So in order to cycle through them, we can do a mode operation. So type in mode and select this mode fast, and here convert this to a integer. And here, since we have 4 meshes like this, we can set this to 4. So what this mode operation does is that it will divide this number by this and just output the remainder. So if it is 0 divided by 4, the remainder will be 0. And if it is 1, the remainder will be 1. And if it is 2, the remainder will be 2. And 3, it will be 3. And if it is 4, it will be 0 again. And if it is 5, it will be 1 again. So it will just cycle through the indexes like that. So we can just connect this to the mesh index and click apply. And here if I just set the timeline to 1, you can see that it is just cycling through the meshes like this. So this is what we want. So now if I just press play, I get this effect. So now let's fix the last mesh, this one. So the fix for this issue was just doing the LODs again. So that kind of messed up the mesh. So now it is fixed. So now if I just press play, it's working. So if you had that issue, you can just do the LODs again. Just go here and auto LOD and create and click update existing asset. So then it should work. Now we can also add some fading to the ribbon material. So we can go here and type in scale, color. Then we can go to alpha and type in curve. And we can select this curve like this one or this one. And then copy paste that here. And now if I just press play, so now our ribbons kind of fades better. So here we can also experiment with the colors. So here I can select this and set this color to, so I get a new look. I can also set the probability here to 0.7. So it won't spawn that many particles. So now I have a look like this. So here if I just stop, we have this issue because our particle system isn't being deactivated. So we have this particle spawning again and again. So in order to fix that, so here if I just press play, you can see that the particle is also spawning when I play. So in order to fix that, we can go back to the blueprint. And here we can select our Niagara particle system. And here search for auto activate and untick this. So it won't play when we start the game. And then we can just drag this in and type in set activate and connect that here. And then drag this and type in deactivate. So when we don't need this, we will just deactivate it. So here instead of set activate, we can just get a node called activate. And now press play. And now when I print, you can see the effect. And when I stop, it also stops. So this is what we want. So here we can go back to the particle system, then go back to scale color. And this one, and just set this to this one like that. So it will continue like that. So now we get this effect. Here one more thing we can do is that we can go here and set the scale curve of the alpha to 0.5. It will be, so it will fade much better, or 0.1. So it will only be barely visible. So now if I just press play, we get this effect. Another thing we can do is that we can just set the scale of this to 0.5. So it will be really small. So now we have this effect. And here if you want to spawn more ghost particle, we can go to here and set this loop duration to 0.05. So it will spawn even more like this. Now if you want to increase the length of the ghost trails, we can go here and go to the initialize particle and set the lifetime to 3, which will spawn a longer tail like that. I don't really recommend this because that is a lot of measures, but if you want, you can do that also. So I'm just going to set this to like 0.7. So now we have this effect. And here I'm just going to change this blue color to like an orange color or a red color. Maybe violet color like this. I think that's much better. And here you can play around with all the colors. Now we can create the post-process speed lines. So in order to do that, right click, then click material, then m_speed lines, then open it up. And here we can set the material domain to post-process, then type in blend and set this to thin color after depth of field. So our effect don't cause any anti-aliasing issues. Now here type in texture, sample, and then go here and click add. Then add starter content here to your project. And after that, here you can type in Berlin noise and select this Berlin noise. And then get a UV coordinate and get an add node and give it a value of negative 0.5. And then you will get a UV coordinate like this one and normalize this. So the value is between 0 and 1 and then connect it here. And if I connect this to the MC color, here we will get an effect like this one. So it's like a streak of lines going to the middle of the screen like this. And here, if I just get a panel and give a value of 1 and 1 here, here you can see that it is moving like this. Now here we can get a radial gradient. So it will just create a circle like this one. We can use this to mask our effect. We just want this effect on this black regions. So we can just 1 minus this and get a multiply. So now the black regions are white, which means it has a value of 1. So here you can see that the dark center portion will have a value of 0. And here the bright outer portion will have a value of 1. So if you multiply both of them together, then only the white portion will be visible like this. Now here we can just subtract some values from this one. So we can control the amount of lines like that. Then we can get a multiply again and we can get a scalar parameter and call this intensity. And I will set this to 1. Now here type in scene texture, then get a mask and tick B also. Since this has 4 channels alpha, we don't really want that. And here we can set this to like post processor input 0. If I connect this, this is our normal color like this. And I can get a lerp and connect this here and connect this here and connect this to the MEC color. And now if I just get a scalar parameter and call this alpha and connect this here, we can also get a round and then saturate it. So it will clamp the values between 0 and 1 and connect it here and click apply. Now I can right click this and create a material instance and open it up. And here I can just this alpha to 1 and it is all black now. So in order to fix that, we can go back here and now we can get an add node and add this with this one and connect this to B also and click apply and press and hold 1 and click and set this to 1 and again and set this value to like 0.5. Now go here and convert this to a parameter and call this radius. Then convert this to a parameter and call this density. And here we might need to get a bool and take this and connect this to the invert density and click apply. So it will invert our density. So now here we can increase the density like this. We can also increase the intensity. So nothing is working. So let's go back. So here we need to connect this multiply before the round like this and set this to 2. So it is visible now. Now reduce the density like this. So now we have this effect. And if I reduce alpha to 0, it won't be visible. And if I set this to 1, it will be visible. So this is what we want. So now we can add this to our camera. So for that, we can go back to your third person blueprint. So here, just drag and drop the camera like this. And here, drag and type in post process settings and select set post process settings. And here, just drag this and type in make post process setting. And here, we can search for blend and select post process material as pin. Then here we can drag and type in make weighted blendables And here we can drag again and type in make array. And here drag and type make weighted blendable. And here we can just set this to 1. And for the object here, we can select the material we created like this. And now we can create a macro here, add post process, then copy all of this and paste it here, and just connect it here and here like this. And here for the weight, we can connect it here. And here for the object, we can also connect it here. Now click compile and just delete this. We don't really need that anymore. Now we can just drag and drop this in and connect this. And here set the weight to 1. And for the object, we can just select this. And now if I just press play, you can see the effect like this. So now we need to control the speed here. So in order to do that, you can go back here and type in time and get a multiply and set this value to like 0.2 and connect this to time here and click apply. Now if I just press play, you can see the effect. And here, and I can increase or decrease the intensity. Now if I just press play, you can see the effect. I think it's way too much. So I can just reduce the radius and also reduce. Now here for this subtract, we can get a parameter and call this subtract. You can set this to 0.5 and here select this and type in blend, and here set this to scene color after tone mapping and click apply. Now we have a really clean speed lines like this. So now we can just reduce the density and set the intensity to like 2 and also adjust the radius like that. So now we have this effect. So you can play around with these values to get the look you want. You can also get a multiply and a vector parameter and call this color and connect this here and connect this here. And with this, you will be able to change the color also. So here I can change the color like this. So we can have a really cool effect like this. Now here, in order to control the alpha, we can get a collection parameter. So we can fade in and fade out the effect. So in order to do that, we can go here and right click, then material, then select material parameter collection. Then I will call this PC speed data. Then open it up and click on this. I will name this alpha and then go back here and type in collection parameter and select this one and select the alpha and connect this here and click apply. And here we can get a timeline and I will call this speed line timeline. Then open it up and set this length to 1 and add a float track. Then click here and set this value to like 0 for time and shift click here again and set the time to 1 and value to 1 and click this and this. And we can also select both of them and do an auto curve so it is smoother. Now here drag and type in set scalar parameter value, and for the collection parameter we can type in speed data, and for the parameter name pick alpha and connect this to the alpha here. And when we deactivate it, we can just reverse this like this. So now if I just press play, you can see the effect, and if I just stop it, you can see that it has faded out. So again it is fading in and we can fade it out. And here we can also remove this post-processing material from the effect. So in order to do that, here we can type in less than And if it is 0.1, then that means this alpha is also 0. So at that time, so when we finish the timeline, and if the alpha is going to 0, then we can just duplicate this and set this to -1. And here we can set this to none. So we will remove this from the camera. So this post-process effect won't be running on the background, and it will only run when we want it to. So now if I just press play, so here if I just press shift, you can see that our effect is just fading in. And if I release shift, it kind of fades out. So that's what we want. So here, if I just select the camera, and you can see the field of view here. So here, if I just drag in the camera and type in set FOV and type in set field of view, and here drag and type in lerp, and here we can lerp from 90 to 100, and we can just connect it here and connect the alpha here. So now if I press play, you can see that we are zooming out when we are sprinting, and when I stop sprinting, you can see that I'm zooming in again. So here you can also set this value to like 105. So we have a more pronounced effect. And here you can open this one up, and I can just duplicate this, and here I can change the color to something else like this and set this to like 1, so it will be more visible. So we can get effect like this. So you can play around with all of these values to get a look you want. So I think that's it for the tutorial, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want to download the project files, you can support me on my Patreon and download the files from there. Thank you very much.